time. Up in East Yorkshire, been all sorts of problems on the M62 motorway. Serious accident, apparently. Bradford have arrived. Most of the players from Hull have arrived. The crowd is on its way in, but we are told it's going to be a 9:15 kickoff. 9:15 for Hull against the Bradford Bulls, and we'll keep you up to date with that as this match here progresses, of course, from the DW Stadium. Let's go down to Bill, last look at the teams, and then we'll be underway. Bill?
Well, the Wigan Warriors ran in 8 tries in last weekend's win against the Salford City Reds. It's going to be a tougher prospect for Sam Tompkins and co. Tompkins' score of a hat-trick in that game is at full-back. Then it's Josh Charnley, Daryl Goulding, Pat Richards, this new half-back combination that Wigan have put together of Blake Green and Matty Smith. And in the forwards, are Wigan under strength in that department? That is possibly one of the two suggestions, especially up against a side like Warrington Wolves. But they've got Lee Mossop and Michael McAlorum, Gil Dudson, who starts in the front row, Jack Hughes, Liam Farrell and the captain Sean O'Loughlin, and they will be out to prove that they are the match of this Warrington pack. And on the bench, Ben Flower, Scott Taylor, Sam Powell, only 20 years of age, and a debut for 19-year-old second rower Greg Burke for the coach Sean Wayne. Now Ben Harrison is out for the Warrington Wolves. He underwent or will undergo a hernia operation, I understand, so he could be out for some time. Brett Hodgson is at full-back. Then it's Chris Riley, Rhys Evans, Ryan Atkins, Joel Monaghan, Lee Breers and Richie Myler in the halves. In the forwards, Adrian Morley captains the side, Michael Monaghan and Chris Hill the front row. Then it's Trent Waterhouse, Ben Westwood on the brink of 100 career tries, Simon Griggs at loose forward. And it's a strong bench, Gareth Carvell, Mickey Hyam, Mike Cooper comes in for Harrison, Stephen Ratchford, the coach Tony Smith.
Thank you, Bill. So the Warrington Wolves arrive here red hot favourites not only for this match but also for the Super League crown come October the 5th at Old Trafford. They have won the last 5 Super League meetings against Wigan since 2010. Remarkably, they lost their first 13 visits to Wigan in the opening decade in the Super League, but right now they've won 5 of their last 8 visits here. And the Wigan Warriors, top of the tree in 2012, losing only 6 games all year, and yet 2 of those defeats came against the Warrington Wolves. The crowd always has the number 18. They are the 18th man for Wigan each and every night, and particularly on a night like this. Huge crowd, topping 20,000.
And the Wigan supporters know at the end of last season there's a familiar, famous face in the crowd, Bradley Wiggins, the Tour de France winner and a big Wigan fan, in fact almost the number 1 Wigan fan at the moment. But he and the rest of the Wigan fans know that at the end of last season, Wigan lost twice at home to St Helens in the league and Leeds in the playoffs. And the Wigan crowd and this Wigan stadium needs to become a successful fortress again for them if they are to both retain the League Leaders' Shield and get back to the grand final this year.
Yeah, Phil picked out the most famous Wigan fan of all, Sir Bradley Wiggins, and what a comment from him this week. His highlight of 2012, not the Tour de France win, not becoming a Knight of the Realm, not winning Olympic gold, but being made a life member of the Wigan Warriors. They're at home, but they face a mighty challenge here tonight. They haven't beaten Warrington in Super League since an epic contest at the Halliwell Jones Stadium exactly 3 years ago. They won that night 22-20. It was in February 2010. The last home win against Warrington, August 2009. They ran in 7 tries that day. Emotional return for Phil Bentham to the ground, on which he broke a leg last year in collision with Shannon McDonnell, then the Hull Kingston Rovers fullback. And I bet he will be thinking about that as well as everything else here tonight. We are 12 seconds away from kickoff in what will be one of the games of the season, even though we're only in week 2 of Super League 2013. Phil Bentham waits for the clock to go down to 0. Here we go.
It's a big litmus test for these youngsters in the cherry and white. Wigan realise that they are going to have a very strong pack against them. And it'll be interesting to see how the home side just takes on this ball, trying to get out of their own quarter. Interesting to see if they can get anywhere near the halfway line. Warrington, of course, their coach Tony Smith has made it quite clear that they will defend, especially down the middle. They'll try to force Wigan to kick way down in their own part.
The ball is ferried back to Matty Smith. The kick is deep. It's a possibility of a 40-20.
No, that's a 30 line.
Oh, it is a 30 line. Well done, Phil. You're right. The thing is,
with your excitement, though, I shouldn't contain that.
Well, no, but the thing is, and I wish that it would be different here, but of course it is a Premier League football ground. You can't have different coloured markings on. And it was 30 the other end. It was 30 at this end. So that's why I'm slightly confused. But never mind. It was a great kick away by Matty Smith.
It was, Eddie, and the big question for me is how can Lee Mossop and Gil Dudson play in this game? Those two front rowers have got a big task ahead of them tonight, going up against Adrian Morley and Chris Hill. Warrington have got a bit of size to come off the bench as well in Gareth Carvell. Big emphasis on what the Wigan forwards can do, both in attack running the ball and both in defence now trying to contain the Warrington forwards.
This is Waterhouse. He is in the starting lineup tonight. He was on the bench last week, Trent Waterhouse. Top tackler last year for the Warrington Wolves.
And it just shows you, Eddie, that Tony Smith has got very deep resources. He knows he can rest players, he can give them a couple of weeks off, maybe. They've got so much talent out there, and interesting to see whether the tactics will be down that middle. The man there, Michael Monaghan, such a key player.
This is Rhys Evans. He wasn't held. Rhys Evans getting the nod despite the fact that Stephen Ratchford is on the bench. Played a few times in the centres last year, did Ratchford. This is the last for Warrington. It's off the boot of Lee Breers, high and across field. Well played by Charlie.
What a great take. I anticipated before this match kicked off, Eddie, that they will not be kicking down the throat of Sam Tompkins. I knew they were going to put Josh Charnley under a lot of pressure, but talk about giving a huge lift for your side to take a ball like that under a lot of pressure.
This is Jack Hughes. Second row for the England Knights last year. He begins the 2013 Super League campaign also in the second row. McIllorum gets the ball away to him though, and that was quick hands. Goulding's pass out the back door. If it would have stuck for Charnley, I'd like to have seen him racing away.
He was away. It was as simple as that. You could see how Chris Riley had gone right in on an angle on Daniel Goulding, and it was a tremendous offload there by the centre. And I'm afraid Charnley really should have taken that. I think that was try time.
I think he did too. He just had a snatch at it, didn't he?
Do you know what? You'd have to be very good, and he is very good, to score from 60 metres though against Warrington, because they've got some quick players in the back, Eddie, that would have made the chase back, you know, very competitive on Charnley. Long-range efforts will take something spectacular here because of the effort that both sides will put in if and when their line is broken.
The one thing in common about these two sides is that they like to blow the opposition away very early in the match. They both did that last weekend in their opening fixtures. Warrington against Castleford at the Halliwell-Jones Stadium, and Wigan against the Salford City Reds. They like to get points on the board early. It's a knock on here though by Ben Westwood.
Great defence. Westwood not happy. He's saying it was ripped out. Well, did Liam Farrell have a little bit of a tug on that? Westwood thought he did, but a little bit of nerves, not surprisingly. But Sean Wayne, the Wigan coach, made it quite clear, as far as I'm concerned, they're going to play it out wide. They don't want to mix it down the middle. They realise perhaps that the Warrington Six are a little bit stronger in that department.
We both know, Steve, you can't always just shift it wide. There is going to come a time in this game where your forwards are going to have to stand up and say, right, we got to get our team rolling forward, and we earn the right to shift it wide. You start flinging it wide, Warrington are a good enough team to defend unless you've got them going backwards.
Do you think Wigan are up for this because everyone has been writing them off a little bit prematurely, I think, because so many of their stars have departed from last year?
I think you've got to think, Eddie, is the fact that, you know, the combination Lula Lyon Finch was sensational last year. And even the most ardent Wigan fan would be saying to themselves, you know, can Blake Green and Matty Smith stand up to it? They did last week. This is the true test tonight, though.
And you add to that the fact that people like Lima and Carmont are somewhere else, and of course so too is Gareth Hock. A lot of stars to replace, but it's not a bad start by the Wigan Warriors so far. Richards finds Tompkins. Tompkins then finds Blake Green. Green to Smith. Smith then gets it away, but great tackle by Richie Myler on Lee Mosser. Here now is Matty Smith running the show at number 7. Jack Hughes stands and gets the ball away to McIlaurin. McIlaurin gets away from one, but the reinforcements are there in the shape of Griggs. And here is Smith, and he will pump it wide looking for Pat Richards. And it's claimed by Joel Monaghan.
Again, the tactics kicking into the winger. Surprisingly, in many ways, that they picked out Joel Monaghan. He's one of the tallest out there on the field of play.
That'll do for Wigan, though. Look where they've turned the ball over.
And look at the tackle we just seen from Liam Farrell. Clearly dominating his opposite number, Ben Westwood. It's a big pressure here now on Liam Farrell. He's almost a big strike player on the left-hand side. In many ways, replacing Gareth Hock. Can he be as equally as defective?
Going back to that kick, I'm not sure there's an advantage kicking either side. On one wing, you've got Chris Riley against Josh Charnley. Neither of them very tall players, but pretty good in the air. And of course, on the side nearest us, you've probably got two of the best wingers in the game at catching crossfield kicks. Joel Monaghan for Warrington and Pat Richards for Wigan. So probably cancel each other out, both sets of wingers.
That wasn't the best kick from Breers. I think he might have been looking for a 40-20. All he found was Pat Richards. Blake Green.
Problem being, Eddie, is the fact that the good solid defence by Wigan ensured that they were deep in their own territory, Warrington, when they got that kick away. It's so important, field position. They know it. Both Sean Wayne, Tony Smith, the coaches, understand now the kicking game can control it.
That was a big hit there that we saw on Gil Dudson, and he's still a little bit groggy, the Wigan player, as a result of that. This is Tompkins now. Here is Goulding once again. Thought about coming out the back door again. Wants to get on with the play the ball, does Goulding. Ryan Atkins just slowing him down slightly. Matty Smith with a high hanging kick. Hodgson's underneath that, safe as houses.
Yeah, just a touch too far and a bit too strong there from Matty Smith.
I didn't think he could do that. I didn't think he could lift legs off the floor like that. The referee has given the penalty.
Somewhat delayed, but they certainly deserved it to Warrington.
It's for interference, it's not for this.
I know, but it should have been for that one. Either way, they've got what they fully deserve. I must say, though, that Wigan, they've really got themselves wound up for this one. Some really good short passing, trying to drag the defence in.
Wait for it!
This is as good as an atmosphere as you'll get at a rugby game. It absolutely is. And Eddie, you ask why these players are up for it. It's because of the atmosphere created by this crowd in a brilliant stadium on a good pitch. We'll see rugby at its best.
Yes, it's solid. It's a great drainer, this pitch. It's a Premier League soccer ground. For 9 months of the year, it doubles up, of course, for 6 months of the year with Rugby League. Wigan Athletic playing here in the Premier League. Great surface for these two sides. They're both top of the ground teams.
And good work there by Michael Monaghan. He thought perhaps he could have just milked the penalty.
This is Myler, and Myler gets it away to Brett Hodgson. Hodgson says to Atkins, you have a run. And Atkins spilled that forward to Waterhouse, didn't he? The referee will give the knock-on against Wigan. It's going to be head and feet to Warrington, because this is the new rule this year, even though this ball goes to ground.
Did well to catch. Sorry, Phil. He did well to catch that. Trent Waterhouse, Tony Smith will be happy with the build-up. They've got themselves into a pretty good position. That's the second error that we've seen deep down in Wigan's quarter. Now then, will Warrington do a set pattern move from the scrum base?
Let's see. This is Breers. He gets away from one. He has some space to exploit with Joel Monaghan. Wigan muscling up in defence. Still 0-0. We're in the 10th minute of the match, and Breers finds Riley, who'll have a stab at this Wigan defence. Chris Riley, the 3rd minute try against Castleford last week. Here is Breers. Wide to Monaghan. They're in, Warrington. In the corner. First real threat on that Wigan line. And Joel Monaghan with the opening try. 60 tries now for Monaghan. This is his 59th Warrington appearance. More than a try per game for Joel Monaghan.
Great build-up. Ryan Atkins offload there to Trent Waterhouse. They came up with the error. There you can see just the tip of the fingers got from Josh Charnley. They settled on the scrum base, but he was always on, wasn't it, on that blind side. That is a great finish. Just caught them out of position there. Squeezes into the corner. That was a magnificent pass by Lee Briers.
And doesn't Joel Monaghan love this place? He's now been a try scorer in all 5 of his meetings with Wigan since arriving in Super League in 2011, including 2 here in the 24-6 win in 2011.
And they all tend to have a common trait that he scores them just inside the corner post. If any team keep you honest across the full width of the field, from one corner post to the other, it's the Warrington Wolves. They make sure you have to defend and cover the entire width of the playing area. And at the moment on that play, Wigan couldn't.
So Brett Hodgson has a very difficult conversion attempt to try and turn the Joel Monaghan 4 into 6. Hodgson turns 35 next Tuesday, February the 12th. 6 goals against Castleford last Sunday. And he's on the score sheet here tonight. Warrington lead by 6 points to 0.
Beautiful blindside move. It's something that Warrington have done for several years now. Get the defence going into the middle and then switch it out wide. But the pass from Lee Briers, outstanding. Not a happy face, Sean Wayne.
No, and they'll be wondering why his big winger, Pat Richards, made such a poor read on that. Joel Monaghan, as I said, they're both the same in stature, but Pat Richards just got sucked in a little. Joel Monaghan held his width. Certainly Wigan had enough numbers to defend that short side play. Warrington were good enough to exploit a mistake from a usually very, very reliable defender on the left wing in Pat Richards.
So here come the Warrington Wolves again with Simon Grix. He's missed out on all 3 Wembley wins for Warrington under Tony Smith, but he did play at Old Trafford last October. Monaghan gets it away to Richie Myler.
Oh, they just held off slightly, did Wigan there. You don't hang. They'll be asking the question all the time, and oh, that's come off a Wigan player, and that should be play on.
That is great defence. Daryl Goulding cut short for numbers on the short side. That is a brilliant read from the centre. Came in and closed them down. Warrington had them here. Michael Monaghan knew it, went straight at it. Daryl Goulding had to come in, make a decision. Well, he shut it down on that occasion. Great play from the Wigan right centre.
Not the best pass, it was above his head. What he tried to offload is anyone's guess. So Wigan breathe a sigh of relief, put under a lot of pressure.
Matty Smith's got a right clatter above his right eye.
Well, that needs attending. Surely he can't stay out there, and they're taking him off the field of play.
He needs a new jersey, is what Phil Bentham said.
I'm not surprised the Claret's running freely. Oh, that's good work.
Mossop, he gets Wigan to the halfway line.
Good work by Michael McAlorum there. He can control it, just like his opposite, Michael Monaghan.
That's Liam Farrell. Matty Smith getting patched up. Here's a penalty for Wigan meanwhile. Pulling the shirt of the grounded player, Ben Westwood. In his testimonial year is Ben this year.
It's great to see the referees do this as well. You know, look, don't mess around. There was no doubt about it that Ben Westwood was all over the man, trying to just slow things down so that his defence could get into a good position. And as long as the referees continue with this, nobody will complain.
Matty Smith all patched up back into the attacking line.
I know we've seen worse injuries in the game of rugby league, but it reminds you how tough the players are. Stay on the field, bandage me up as quick as you can, even though blood's pouring out of my head, and let me get back in and help my team. They are supreme athletes, these rugby league players.
They are. Sam Tompkins said in a radio interview this week, we spend 80 minutes on the field pretending we're not hurt. Here's Jack Hughes. And there must be hurt in every tackle that comes in. McAlorum attacking them, attacking the line.
They can't afford to leave that.
Here's another penalty.
Hill will make you suffer. That's poor play by Chris Hill. Well, that's just showing that Warrington's showing a little bit of desperation. Not surprisingly, they've gone for the quick tap.
And Liam Farrell will drive it in. He's about 6 meters away from the try line, and McIlaurin is waiting again at dummy half, looking for the runner. The runner's arrived, it's Thornley, and that's good Warrington defence. Good Warrington defence of their own line. McIlaurin waiting again. This is Blake Green, and Green will fire a short pass. There was no way through for Dodson. Michael McIlaurin sorted that. Smith, wide to O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin couldn't get the ball away to the runner.
Well-disciplined defence by the Wolves, it had to be.
McIlaurin again. Matty Smith stabbing the ball to the in-goal area. They've lost it, Warrington, and to the rescue comes Lee Breers.
Great little kick.
Sam Tompkins was hunting the try.
Good kick, that's all you need from a good halfback. Matty Smith. Sensational. Apply the pressure. Westwood couldn't handle it first off. Now it'll be the dropout. Irrespective of the claret running down the face from the injury, he still had the brains enough to get that kick away.
You look for little things, little signs in games, Steve-O, and Tony Smith, looking at that last play, would have seen Ben Westwood stretch for an almost impossible catch. It didn't come off for him, but what will have pleased the coach is the effort of Lee Breers and the other players to come and follow up, just in case their player didn't get to it.
Well, that's why both of these teams are some of the best over the past years, and it's not a matter of just playing when you have possession of the football. It's so important, as you say, Brian, is that when you are under pressure, you've got to back up and help your friends.
Dodson will drive it in again, and he was met head-on by Adrian Morley. McIlaurin to O'Loughlin. Nice footwork from Hughes, but good defence from Hill.
Pretty impressive by Wigan, though. They're teasing. Back on the inside, they're utilising the dummy runners. That's 3 on the trot. But you can see that Warrington's defence, they're not being fooled. They're not being dragged out of the line.
Tompkins eventually to his feet. McIlaurin again. O'Loughlin. Back it comes to Blake Green. 4 tackles gone.
Going on the right side.
With Matty Smith. And further wide and further wide. And Charlie. Super League's top try scorer last year. A try last week against Salford, a try here tonight against Warrington. And Josh Charnley, the England international, puts Wigan on the board.
The Warrington defence was screaming to get out there, and you can see they were a little bit slow. And Riley again is caught out. No combination there between centre and Riley. And that is where you get the mix-up. Well, Riley and Atkins look at each other, and Charnley says, thank you very much indeed. Take nothing away about the skill factor from Wigan's defence, Wigan attack on that right-hand side. He's happy, and he's every right to be happy, but I'm not so sure Tony Smith, the Wolves coach, will be. When you get a centre and a winger going for the same man, it's man-on-man marking.
Poor Chris Riley, he's just trying to do his very, very best to help his centre. Just a poor read in the end. But Darryl Goulding, Steve-O, he had to be good enough to get that pass away, and he was.
Well, Brett Hodgson kicked one from the touchline to make it 6-0. This from Pat Richards to make it 6 apiece. Josh Charnley, Super League's top try scorer last year with 31 tries. His account is underway in 2013. Here comes Richards. Can he add the extras? No, he pulls it in front of the posts. But importantly, from Wigan's point of view, they're on the board.
And I think importantly as well, the player who's been instrumental in the last few minutes in playing well for them is the guy with the headband on there, Matthew Smith, number 7 for Wigan. He helped to get them the extra field position down here with his great kick into the in-goal area from that goal line dropout and penalties. They've spent time in the opposition area and they've managed to come away with points. He'd be pleased with the way, I think, he's directed his side in the opening quarter.
Well, the one person that will be pleased is Sean Wayne, the coach, because that's the second occasion that they've sucked in the winger Chris Riley. Remember, it was Charnley that knocked on with an open run. Okay, it was about 60 metres to run, but at least he's seen that on 2 occasions during this game. Riley has been sucked into the centre.
Just hold, wait for it. Go on, 2.
Here come Wigan again. Goulding gets away from one tackler. That was Riley, and he missed that. There's a bit of a clash of heads there. He couldn't touch McIlaurin either because he was stood in an offside position. Wigan rolling forward. They're on the front foot at the moment. Here comes O'Loughlin. Now Tompkins. That was knocked down. Was knocked down by Lee Breers.
He was trying to poach another one. He's done it for so many years, hasn't he?
Well, his interception try turned the game here last March.
Time off, Matt.
Took a huge gamble, though. Came in on the angle. Prevented any chance of an overlap. You could see that Joel Monaghan was coming in on there. It's something that Tony Smith utilises in defence. He does the outside backs, moving in, creating sort of an umbrella defence. But this guy...
Oh, and he needs a third shirt now, does Matty Smith, because of that blood that's still on it.
Just making the point, Eddie, that, you know, a lot of pressure on this guy.
And there's no number on his back now because they've obviously run out of number 7s for the time being.
It doesn't matter. This fella here, Tony Smith, knows who the danger man is. He doesn't have to have a number on his back. They can see that he's taking control out there.
If you looked at that last passage you played on, mate, you couldn't say there's one man a danger man. The fact that Wigan gets so many players moving, Eddie, as options when the ball's moving around the field, make them very difficult to defend against. There isn't one or two players who can carry an attack. The whole team move forward as a wave of cherry and white.
Warrington being asked a few questions in defence again as Matty Smith, and he's got the ball now. No number on his back, as I say. Here is Lee Mossop. He's got a big white headband on, though, Matty Smith, so we can tell who he is. And this is Liam Farrell and Ben Westwood claiming that was a knock on. The touch judge and the referee disagree. It's play on. Dodson to Smith. Smith then to O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin trying to strip it through the middle, and that's going to be a penalty to Warrington. Man tackle without the ball.
Yeah, the ball ricocheted up. But the attacking confidence that the home side is showing. O'Loughlin, not the best kick through, just bobbled around. And it's a big sigh of relief by Warrington. They have been put under pressure.
It's the options that Wigan are running. Phil referred to bodies and movement. If you look at the ball player, Eddie, every time he gets the ball, he's got some big forward running very, very short off his shoulder, and he's always got an option to pass out the back as well. And they're mixing it up very well, putting some doubt in the Warrington mind. They were good enough to defend it on that occasion, but they have been cut out before. If the forwards from Wigan don't get through, they certainly get a quick play of the ball. That allows the ball player to go again. They're playing well at the moment, the Wigan Warriors.
Now then, breaking news about the Hull Bradford match. The match has been postponed until Sunday, as you can see. They're kicking off at 3 o'clock. That's come from the Rugby Football League. Tonight's game between Hull and Bradford is off. All sorts of problems on the M62 motorway across from Bradford to Hull. And so the rugby leagues have stepped in. They've stopped any confusion. They were talking about a 9:15 kickoff, and so they've now made it a Sunday kickoff for that game. Here we have the Friday night then all to ourselves with Wigan and Warrington coming forward with Chris Hill.
Wigan have to watch that blindside move again. Created the first try for Joel Monaghan. Can they do the same for Chris Riley?
This is Breers, and Breers sliding the kick in, looking for the posts. Tompkins allows it to run dead in goal.
I knew it was good.
Was hunting.
Yeah, just a little bit too strong. Nice little dink, wasn't it? Oh, that's good play. Quick start, got him there. Tompkins wants to get on with it. That should be a penalty.
Wigan were appealing for one. They might have been appealing for one for offside as well, because the tackle was made about 8 metres away from where the quick tap was taken.
He's a smart player, isn't he, Sam Tompkins?
They get the penalty now, not standing square.
Is that playing the game just too quick for their opponents, Wigan, there, Eddie? The markers can't get set. They were losing the speed of play the ball.
Of course it is, Phil. It's as simple as that. But you've got to say also that Warrington were very, very slow to sort themselves out. Well, slowly but surely, the home side are starting to turn the screw.
Goulding to restart then for Wigan, and here is young Hughes. Waterhouse with the try. McIlorum scoots in at dummy half, 12 metres away. Matty Smith pops the ball up. Great drive in there from Ben Flower, the Welsh international, off the bench. Now it's with Blake Green. Green then nice little reverse pass and finds O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin gets the ball away to Liam Farrell as he went down in the tackle. It's play on. And here's a try for Wigan. And it is Ben Flower who's just on the field. Substitute last Friday also the former Crusader. Prop loose forward in 2012 for Wigan. First try of 2013, and Ben Flower nudges the Wigan Warriors ahead.
And fully deserved. This is where the penalty came. You can see there that Adrian Morley not standing square. Very slow indeed to do it. They take full advantage. But this is the switch. Beautiful play. Never say die. And it didn't. It kept alive. Barreled it ever so well. And how's this for a step? Not bad from Flower. Super sub. Back on the inside. Look at that. There's the offload. And Flower. Didn't he blossom? He's got the try.
And Sean Wayne and Easton Harris celebrate the try for Ben Flower just on the field. Richards makes no mistake this time, and Wigan ahead 10-6.
You know, the match figures will show Sean O'Loughlin an offload there, but there's so much more to it than just one offload. It's how late in the tackle he has offload. What Warrington have said, they thought, no, our players are going to deal with Sean O'Loughlin. He got the ball away. Warrington stumbled, Warrington fell, Ben Flower able to get over the line. A brilliantly late offload from Sean O'Loughlin is what's caused the trouble there. Not the fact that he got a ball away, Steve-O, it's when he got the ball away.
And another big problem for Tony Smith is the fact that you could see quite clearly that that penalty was given away mainly due to the fact that Adrian Morley just didn't have the strength and the speed to get himself in position. It's all about fine-tuning, and Tony Smith's got to do a little bit of that.
Well, he's got Mike Cooper out there now wearing 17.
I think, Eddie, Tony Smith would like his team to get the ball. They've not had much of it. In fact, they've had most of it in their own half when they have had it. Wigan's not only control of the game, but dominance in possession is reflected by the fact that now they've put the 10 points on consecutively.
It was Warrington who took the lead, 6-0. It's now 10-6 to the Wigan Warriors. Let's get down to Bill.
A big celebration on the Wigan bench of that demonstration of Flower power as Ben Flower went over with only his second touch of the ball. And I tell you who was up on his feet celebrating just as much as anybody else was the man he replaced just a few seconds earlier, his fellow Welsh international Gil Dudson. Dudson left the pitch, Flower comes on and gets all the glory.
Just shows you, and Wigan are penalised here.
Silly play there. Michael McAloran, you know, you don't have to prove yourself to be tough by just swinging the arm right over the shoulder. You've just scored the try, you've just taken the lead, you're in control of the game, and now you allow the visitors back into it.
Mickey Hyam is out there, so too is Gareth Carvell. And Carvell is surrounded by 4 cherry and white jerseys, goes down just inside his own half of the field. Here comes Cooper, so 3 substitutes in this first half on for the Warrington Wolves. Hyam again will have a scamper, showed it to Westwood, took it on himself, gives it to Rhys Evans, and an important tackle by Richards. Warrington coming forward trying to counter with Breer's long looping pass into the arms of Myler. Myler coming down the middle, gives it then to Carvell. Carvell out the back. Oh, knock on by Cooper. He says it hit Manisa, and the referee will have none of it.
It's those little things, and you've got to be aware. And I don't think he realised that that was going to be offload. You've got to be aware of everything that goes out on the field of play.
I don't think Mikey did it, but I'm not critical of the referee there. He had to make an instant decision.
Well, I'm not so sure. I think
his hands went to it, didn't they? That's the thing.
Opportunity. See the difference between the two? I think maybe the fingertips. Either way.
Ball back to Wigan, Steve-O, but there's the warning sign there from Warrington. We got a glimpse there. Mike Cooper, great late footwork. That's something that can get the Warrington forwards going. Mickey Hyam, great run out of dummy half. There's a warning sign there for Wigan. If Warrington do get the ball, they can cause you trouble. We know that. We've seen it in previous seasons. We saw it in this game just now.
The Wolves went to within 80 minutes of winning the double last year, didn't they? They felt the squad is strong enough. No new faces, but here they come. Here come Warrington again. They've got the ball back. That was Griggs. This is Hyam. Here is Evans. And Evans is tackled by Thornley. And 3 more.
Good work as well by the centre, Thornley. Came in on the angle, snuffs everything out.
Westwood will have a run at this Wigan defence. Thought about the offload, held on under pressure of the tackle. This is Breers attacking the line, flicks the pass, dropped ball.
Oh, that was dangerous stuff. They'll go right back with that new ruling. It'll take, you can try to take the advantage, even put in the kick in, but you can see there that, well, that's poor. Well, we said Tony Smith had to do a little bit of rejigging. He's brought off the captain Adrian Morley, and that's the second occasion that they have just spilled the ball in a very good attacking position. It's just not working out for them, but take nothing away from this Wigan defence. They get it into their faces.
Richards for Wigan.
Wait for it. Go, roll back.
As I say, no new faces for Warrington. One or two new faces for Wigan. Tompkins has been, well, he seems to have been around for years, but he's only 23. Mossop stopped dead in his tracks. Here's another of the Wigan new boys, Scott Taylor, ex-Hull Kingston Rovers this close season, waiting to come on for his home debut. Last tackle here coming up for Wigan, so expect the kick. Blake Green puts boot to ball right down the middle, and Chris Riley is underneath it. Asks Hodgson to come on his outside, then goes outside him, and Jack Hughes and co leading the charge.
Good chase as well on that right-hand side, even though the ball was cannon right down the middle. So important to get down that field as quick as possible.
Wigan seem to put a lot of defenders into tackles, Eddie, especially when the tackle count 3, sometimes 4 men in. They seem dominant at the moment, but that does take a physical toll on the side over 80 minutes to be able to maintain that intensity.
11 minutes to half-time. Waterhouse taking it forward for the Warrington Wolves. Yes, they have got plenty in the tackle, haven't they, Wigan? It's Carvel. Again, 3 to meet the big prop forward. Another youngster, Sam Powell, coming on. High off the boot of Breers, high and spiralling. Tompkins lets it bounce, has the time.
It might not make the highlights reel, but that is a great defensive set. Phil's exactly right. It does take a physical effort to put 3 in the tackle all the time. Well, that was great from the Wigan Warriors side. There's some very, very big men that they've held up there in Trent Waterhouse and Gareth Carvel. Well, they put 3 in the tackle and they've slammed them on their backs. Certainly won that set.
Well, we said before the game started, Eddie, that these Wigan youngsters in the forwards, they had to be eager and they had to be keen, and boy, they've certainly shown it, especially this guy, Liam Farrell. He's in outstanding form already.
Well, we were mentioning it in pre-match. There are 15 British players wearing cherry and white tonight. 11 of them have come through the system at Wigan, and 9, no less than 9, are Wigan-born. They have an effervescence about them, there's no doubt about that. So far, Riley, though, looking to just quell that effervescence. Sam Powell in low down there, number 24. Big things expected of him this year. Here comes Grix.
The indication will be now whether the Wigan defence can keep them way down so that when it does come to the final kick, they won't have reached the halfway line. That was forward. They've got away with it. Surely the touch judge on this side should have seen that.
The original pass from Monaghan, not the one that he took in return, you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't see it, so here come Warrington again. But spun to the ground. This is the one that had a question mark about it.
Yeah, the first one, not the second.
Oh, and Cooper goes without the ball. And the referee will put the scrum down here. No advantage, so head and feed to Wigan. Loose carry.
Well, it's not unusual, you know, for Warrington to make mistakes. It's partly the way they play the game, and they will take chances, although he didn't intend to lose the ball there. But sometimes they're able to recover from it because the teams they've played against aren't as good as the team they're playing at the moment. Wigan have been very, very good for 30 minutes. Ruthless as well.
Yeah, but Phil, you know, any side can't afford to send out a young guy out there who's come up with 3 major errors. You can't control any sport, never mind rugby league, when you do that.
If you try and put yourself in his position really now, and we've all been there, haven't we, making mistakes, what's going through your mind? How can I recover? How can I make up for it? And what will the rest of my teammates thinking about?
There's a mistake from Wigan, and it's play on because the advantage is very much with Warrington. And Joel Monaghan That could have been a penalty because Liam Farrell was
You're not supposed to drag, yeah.
He was dragging Joel Monaghan. That's not allowed. This is Westwood.
To be fair to the officials, it's very difficult to decide one way or the other when they're going into each other, hammer and tong.
It's rip-roaring stuff, there's no doubt about it, and it's a credit to both clubs that this game is being played, A, at such a pace, and B, so ferocious so early in the season. Hodgson gets it wide to Riley, applied the brakes, cuts inside, bounces off two or three more come in and put him down, Goulding and Charnley.
Great sliding defence by the Warriors, had the match on it.
Waterhouse short ball, Carvel offloads, Hyam spins it then to Breers. They've got men out wide here, Evans is one of them. Good tackle, but Evans still got the ball away to Hodgson. Hodgson is halted by Green and by Farrell. This is Hyam then to Myler, he'll slide the kick in. Oh, that was so close to the posts.
He was aiming for the post, that was the key factor. He knows it too, Tony Smith.
And I'd say, Steve, Pat Richards has redeemed himself. As we see the kick come through, Tompkins was confident, covered it, but Pat Richards made a defensive read on this left-hand side. Decided to come in this time, came up with a body, very, very efficient tackle, and snuffed out the Warrington attack.
Boy, some of these tackles are cruel, and Tony Smith knows that he's got to continue throughout this game.
He's on his way down to the touchline to see his side off the field in 6 minutes' time.
Well, he wants to cut down on the errors. He knows that that really has been a negative for him in this first half.
7 errors from Warrington with the ball and only 3 for Wigan. And Blake Green just slides the kick out.
Very good kick indeed.
2 seasons at Hull Kingston Rovers for Blake Green. He did this for them for 2 years. But only 10 appearances last year.
Yeah, up and down season, he fully realised it, but Sean Wayne was pretty confident that he could fit in. And up to now, it's been impressive between the 2 half-backs, Blake Green, Matty Smith.
Don't forget, tomorrow we're at Wakefield, Hull Kingston Rovers. 5:30, Sky Sports 1 HD. 2 sides who are desperate to get their season up and running after defeats last weekend. Here's Rhys Evans again.
A little bit more beef and grunt up front by the Warrington forwards, trying to sort of suck in this Wigan defence. But you can see that they're moving out quickly out wide. They're coming in on the angle.
Eddie, is that a different tackling technique from Wigan? You may have seen 3 men not only get in the tackle, but they hold him up for a while, control him and then put him down. And it's allowing the teammates to get back on side. I guess many of the matches Wigan win is because they dominate defensively, not just with the ball.
Is it a throwback to when Michael Maguire was here? Because they sent plenty of players into the tackle then, didn't they?
Well, again, there's a lot of effort involved in wrestling your opponent. Don't forget the man with the ball's trying his best to get forward and get up as quick as he can here. And wanting to drift towards this edge, but Wigan have looked strong. Have they got it for another 4 minutes?
Breers will hoist another high one, cross field.
Oh, it's a good one as well.
And it's bounced off Charnley. This will be play on and 6 to go.
Quick play the ball is what they need, but they're holding them down and getting away with it.
6 to go and 10 metres away. Warrington, here's Atkins.
Another pressure kick towards Josh Charnley, couldn't come up with the goods.
Hyam then to Myler. Myler, it comes back to Breers. Breers gives it to Hodgson. Hodgson to Monaghan. Second try for Monaghan. Second try for Joel Monaghan. And almost a carbon copy down this right-hand flank. Good quick hands. And Monaghan, he's deadly from that range. And the score's a level.
Wonderful high kick. Tremendous. They wanted to keep it away from Sam Tompkins, and they have. This is real pressure. Was he touched before he got to it? Oh, this is contentious. Either way, they've got away with it. But the dummy runner, look how they came on the angle. And again, they just got caught out. Similar to the one that Warrington did to allow them through. You get 2 going for the same man, and that's what it is. Pat Richards, he was in no man's land. This is the incident. Now then, does Atkins take him? I think he makes contact with him.
And his feet are off the ground.
That should have been a penalty to Wigan. That is contentious. Controversy reigns supreme at the moment. He won't mind. Second try, Joel Monaghan.
Well, that might take some of the gloss off what I thought was an extraordinary try, because Warrington made that look easy. Fantastic skill and timing. You almost need players right on the right step, as if they've started to run up like a long jump, to be in the right place at the right time as that ball transfers across the field. And the winger made it look easy as he scored in the corner. Very difficult try, made to look simple.
Well, here is the chance for Brett Hodgson to add a little bit of salt to the Wigan wound, but he's missed it. So it's 10-all as we approach half-time, but should this Warrington try have been allowed? The feet are off the ground and Atkins makes contact.
I think Wigan have a fair claim that he's tackled him beforehand.
Yeah, and he knows it as well as Charnley. He shakes his head in disbelief. That really should have been spotted. It wasn't.
The key play in that, Phil mentioned the ability of the Warrington side to move it across. John Wells might show us the effort of Richie Myler. He physically manhandled Gareth Carvell. You know, we talk about our halfbacks being generals and dictating a side. He moved Gareth Carvell physically into the position he wanted to run. Gareth Carvell ran a beautiful decoy line, which caused the Wigan defence to pause. And that's perhaps why Pat Richards on the end made a bad read, because he had numbers coming at him.
This could be a big moment. Gareth Carvell has not gone at the play the ball. It's head and feet to Wigan at the scrum, and we've got 2 minutes remaining.
He can't believe it. Carvell has lost possession of that. Johnny Smith, what does that? Makes it 8 mistakes, I believe.
That could easily actually have been a penalty rather than
there was a
just a knock on, because it was a step over and it wasn't really an attempt to play the ball. Anyway, here I was going to say here is a chance. The chance is still here, and they have a zero tackle coming up on Blake Green, and that's high, and the bang in front of the sticks with just under 2 minutes to go. I think they'll go for 2 points.
One would think so. But the way that they're playing and the confidence.
It's Carvell around the throat of Blake Green. No, so not the best minute or so for Gareth.
This is where Carvell tries to put the ball down.
Well, there's no knock-on really there, and it's not a proper play the ball.
Eddie, that's as good as you play the ball you're going to get in Super League. They've decided that anything is an effort.
But one was penalised last week, Brian, for almost exactly the same as that.
An effort to play the ball. I don't know why they don't make people put their foot to the ball. We can't get into that argument.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's part of the game. You're supposed to use it with your foot. If they just said to everybody, if you don't use it with your foot, I'm penalising, they'll soon sort it out. And you know what? The coaches will soon sort it out.
Well, I'll tell you, this couldn't be any better poise going in. You know, you needed Wigan to have a good first half in front of this huge crowd, and they've done that. But Warrington, they will have a major say in the second half of this game. The Wigan Warriors will know that.
Listen, I'm not saying that was a square-up for what happened at the other end.
Aren't you?
I'm not saying that.
You just said it.
Richards pops the penalty over, and Wigan restore a 2-point advantage.
Well, Johnny Smith, fully aware, he's got to sort out these errors. There's no way in the world that the visitors, the Warrington Wolves, are going to win this game if they continue to keep dropping the ball.
Well, this big crowd has been royally entertained. I hope you're enjoying it at home as well. Referee's just called time off with 13 seconds remaining. I don't think Warrington were that bothered about restarting this match. I think they would be happy to go in at half-time just trailing by 2. But it's a deep kick from Lee Breers. Smith is underneath it. And Wigan know this is the last play of the first half. And there's the half-time siren. Evans' tackle on Ian Thornley, bringing the opening 40 minutes to a close. Tremendous. Great contest. Warrington ahead 6-0 in 11 minutes. Monaghan's try, Hodgson improved. Then Wigan got going. Charnley try, 6-4. Flower, only his second touch. He made it 10-6 courtesy of the Richards goal. 10-all, Joel Monaghan with the try, and right on the stroke of half-time, the Richards penalty goal.